Su Qing's novella The Beauty on the Crossroad. Original text for Seaside Conversation. On Sunday, Brother Shikai and the National Security Guard accompanied me for a walk on the beach. We took a wild bird carriage, which cost 1 dime per person, which was very cheap. The National Security Bureau suggested visiting the aquarium because there was a live animal that was causing a sensation far and wide. This is a starfish, little ant. When he got inside, he was too busy gesticulating. I was embarrassed to brush off his kindness, so I could only pretend to be happy, followed his finger, and said to the pentagonal animal firmly attached to the edge of the glass, "It's really strange." After hearing this, the National Security Guard said proudly, "There are a lot of strange things, and these are live hairtails. These are all kinds of crab sand. Little ant, come and take a look." Dad, you come to well. There is a big green-headed one here. Is it what they call a living creature? There is a seal over there, with a head like a leopard and a tail like a fish. It's swimming. Dad, look how big it is, like a puppy. And it has a beard. Oops. What's going on? The water has stirred up a big tank. It's farting. Look, it's farting. So everyone gathered round to watch the seal fart, look at each other, and talked for a long time. I felt my legs were sore and just wanted to sit down. Brother Shikai is a conscientious businessman. Apart from making money, he has no curiosity about such things. When he saw that I was silent for a long time, he thought I was thinking about my sister's illness. So he turned around. I went to the National Security Bureau and said, "Look at you, kid. You are a college student and you still like to join in the fun? My little ant is worried, so you should go to one park and sit down and drink some tea." "No, Dad. Let's go to the beach with my little ant." "Okay, Xiao Mei. Do you like to go to the beach and have a look?" I had no choice but to respond, "Okay." The beach in Qingdao is no different from the beach in other places. There are many children wading in the water, and several modern couples of men and women lying on the beach with their heads side by side, turning over and over from time to time, rolling up in the sand. "Little ant, look! The sand here is fine and soft." The National Security Guard leaned down and scooped up a handful of yellow sand for me to see. I nodded. In fact, I followed them all the way, and my feet felt like stepping on cotton wool. Needless to say, I knew that the beach was very soft. "Brother Shikai, how do you think my sister is doing?" After a while, I couldn't help but get back to the topic. Brother Shikai looked at the sea and replied slowly, "According to the doctor, but there is little hope. Maybe it won't survive this year. Maybe it will last until next spring. Spring is the time when bacteria multiply most quickly. Then what should we do? So I want to invite you to discuss it. According to your sister-in-law, Mying missed home during this illness. As the saying goes, the tree is higher than the text, and the leaves return to their roots. No matter what happens, a person can't live outside. This is not my nephew's rule. It's actually my aunt's wrong idea. The girl's family just studied for a few years. So why did she insist on graduating from college? In the end, it was delayed. Is it a serious matter to get married? Although mine didn't say it, she didn't think about it. Now she is homeless and sleeping alone in the hospital. She has to take her temperature every morning and night. You have to defecate according to the prescribed time. To put it bluntly, what if someone can't poop during this time? She refuses to carry the bedpan for you. Xiao Mei, your sister-in-law, and I have seen all this with our own eyes, and we know her pain very well. You new people only know that it is better to go to the hospital, which is hygienic and easy to treat. In fact, your sister is in hospital. She has been in the hospital for 3 months, and the doctor has not treated her. She took 2 x-rays, one for the lungs and one for the bones. After taking them, they said that there were indeed bacteria. So what if there were bacteria? What to do? There is absolutely nothing they can do. Your sister-in-law asked them several times, but they shamelessly replied that foreign countries have not invented any medicine to kill lung cancer. So there is nothing they can do now. For example, if her fever is high, give her more antipyretics. If she can't sleep at night, give her more sleeping pills. If her cough is severe, give her some cough medicine. In fact, what's the use of lying down all day without even moving? People say that she is just lying there waiting for death. Those doctors really have no qualifications. Just waiting for her to breathe. When it was broken, he dragged it out and sent it to the morgue. I became frightened when I heard that, and hurriedly stopped me and said, "Brother Shikai," he said, "as I told your sister-in-law, it's best to go to the shipping company to intercede and send her away as soon as possible. Let's go back to City A. It's not that we don't want to take care of her and are trying to find a way to shirk responsibility. It's really the case that there's nothing we can do. It would be better if she gets better slowly in her hometown. Otherwise there will be consequences. She won't be a lonely soul in a foreign land. After her death, she will ask her aunt to find a good husband for her. She was already lonely enough when she was alive, and she must not be without a good match after her death. In 1,000 words, a woman can. My family always takes it seriously to marry someone." I lowered my head silently, and after a long while, I reluctantly objected to him and said, "Who will I marry after I die?" Brother Shikai smiled and said, "Life and death are the same. This is true in the world of the world, and it is also true in the underworld." Xiaoju, are you laughing at me for being too superstitious? If you don't believe me, ask your sister. She believes in this now, and she often agrees with me. Your sister-in-law is talking about her funeral. You think she has this kind of problem, but she can't get better, and she can't get stronger. So she has to avoid it everywhere for fear of being disliked by others. I don't understand this. He often told him not to show any fear of infection when he met his aunt. This was the most embarrassing thing for a patient, and he should not mention death in front of her. Even if she thought more clearly, she would still hear this. It's heartbreaking. Xiaomei, a person never understands things that he has never done. Others may feel comfortable seeing this bright window in the hospital ward, but in your sister's heart, she is willing to hide. I don't want to live my whole life in a coast or pigsty and smell the smell of medicine every day. My sister is homesick. Yes. What the talented guy said is probably right. Maybe she often talks about it to Shikai and his family. She also expressed to me the pain of loneliness and her need for warmth. But is that her warm home? Go back to Sidia? Brother Shikai saw that I was silent, so he said again, "You don't have to wonder, Xiaomei. Aren't you thinking that if you return to Sidia, your aunt will be heartbroken to death? Or even something will happen? That's right. It's nothing. A person has a lot of life and death. I have never heard that a mother would cry to death or kill herself. My aunt is a sensible person, and she still has you. If mine really dies outside, my aunt will be very sad. Xiaomei, I advise you to decide to send your sister home, and let the married aunt take care of her for a few more months, and then die. She feels so comfortable." The National Security Guard, who was listening next to him, became impatient and said, "Dad, why do you always think about what will happen after my eldest aunt's death? Things are over when a person dies. It doesn't matter if you drag it to the morgue and throw it away. All I know is that my eldest aunt is still alive, so we should try to treat her. There is no decent hospital or famous doctor in Sidia, so my eldest aunt's illness worsened. For example, she suddenly vomited a lot. At that time, what should I do if I ask my uncle to talk to an old lady? She believes in Buddhism, so maybe she has to go to the Bodhisattva to ask for some ashes. I know that you and your mother are opposed to others all day long. The family is in the hospital because they are reluctant to spend money, as if they are no longer useful. So why spend the money? But if my aunt can't get better, there is no point in spending the money on her. The hospital is because the patients care about it, so they think it would be better to live here. If you really send her back to Sidia, she will regret it when she sees her uncle looking sad all day long. It is better to live in a hospital where it is fresh and clean." What? You asked me not to be afraid of infection. That is something I cannot do. Just imagine how miserable it would be for someone to be sick. There are 2 girls from the small station over there in City A. They are even more miserable. Be careful of getting infected. I suggest you to stay in the hospital. Everyone was silent for a moment, unable to think of anything to say. I think in theory I should agree with what the National Security Agency said, but Brother Shikai is talking about human relationships. People's emotions are often beyond the traditional circle. I'm afraid my sister is no exception, right? Brother Shikai seemed very unhappy that his son would not respect his opinions. I am afraid that I am also an admirer of medical science and easily accept the theories of the National Security Agency. After a while, he sneered and said, "You think you can live in a hospital? If my aunt is seriously ill, will the doctor find a way for her?" As I said just now, although they don't ask for incense, they still look like Pozu and can't think that she will be cured of the disease and stay in the hospital. It's still not going to be better. If medicine were omnipotent, would the emperor and the rich still die? At this point, he suddenly thought of another reason and said, "And the spirit can also have a great impact on the body. If she wants to when you go home, you must keep her in the hospital. She is very worried that she will not be cured even though she is obviously going to be cured. What's the point of pouring the medicine on her if she sees it? My dear mother, I feel so happy that my illness may become less severe." After hearing this, the National Security Officer also retorted, "It turns out that my mother is like a living god. She will get well as soon as she sees an illness." Dad said I saw the veins on Brother Shikai's forehead bulging, and I quickly stopped the National Security Guard from talking with my eyes. I smiled and said, "Stop talking about this. Let's go to No. 1 Park to have some food. We have to think about things slowly." This conversation ended without any results. But later, my sister could not return to Sidia because the doctor would not allow her to be discharged from the hospital. And ships and planes would not carry such a seriously ill person.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.